Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for joining us for this edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Raddick, and in a moment we'll be joined by City Manager Rebecca Grill. In the first half of today's program, we'll have some municipal news updates as well as items of note from the upcoming Tuesday, September 9th Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. In the second half, we'll be joined by Interim City Assessor Dean Peters for information about notices of changed assessment that were recently mailed out. And with that, we bring in our City Manager, Rebecca Grill. Rebecca, thanks for joining us today on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So we have a lot of different things going on in Oshkosh, as we always do. And last time we mentioned that there was a bridge closure that was coming up, but that Main Street Bridge rehabilitation is now underway. And this is a Wisconsin Department of Transportation project. And so we just have some information for residents, a little bit about what's going on with the bridge and why this is happening.
Yeah. The construction started on September 2nd and it's expected to go through the end of April next year. So it's closed and you have to detour it at this point. There's different things that are going to be fixed as part of the project. They're going to work on the electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, and structural components, do some minor repairs to the operator's house, the hydraulic power units, and the access platforms. Some concrete deck repairs and overlay of the fixed approach spans, and then removal and replacement of the steel grid deck on the movable span.
Okay, so really it's quite some substantial work that's being done in this bridge. So, that's why it's taking so long. But we also want to point out for those that might be some boaters in our community that marine traffic will be open now through October 14th. So one span of the bridge will be open for vessels that would normally require the bridge to open. But phase 2, after October 15th, there will not be that access under the bridge. But the smaller vessels will be able to pass under the bridge at any time. So just a note there also.
Right. And people can find out more information on the Main Street Bridge Rehabilitation 511 construction website. The link is available through our Hot Topics section on our website.
Okay, all right. And then we also have some information about our city parks, that there's currently some work being done. So the construction is underway for Seward Trail in Menominee Park. And so a little bit of road construction happening there.
Right. It's involving the asphalt and utility reconstruction on the trail from Pratt Trail to East Irving Avenue, and East Irving Avenue from Hazel Street to Pratt Trail. Storm sewers are also going to be repaired and replaced as necessary.
Yeah, and those traffic changes include that Pratt Trail will remain open to one-way traffic through Menominee Park, and so that is the kind of like the other road that goes through Menominee Park. Seward Trail will be closed at the two intersections of Pratt Trail and the intersection of East Irving Avenue. And Menominee Park Zoo parking area will be closed. That is one of the areas that is undergoing the repairs. So visitors to the zoo will have a little different route, but it will be all nice and cleaned up for next season. So we also wanted to point out a couple of other parks that are seeing some updates.
Yes, we're having some construction at Stevens Park, looking to enhance the tennis and basketball courts for future use. This project should be completed by the end of this September.
Yep, and over at 44th Parallel Park, reconstruction is underway and expected to be finished by late September as well. The tennis courts will be reconstructed to accommodate both tennis and pickleball. So for all those fans of pickleball out there, more opportunities to play, especially over on the west side there too. So, all right. Another item that we wanted to point out is that income-based community development block grant applications are open. So this is for folks that might want to do some upgrades or improvements at their residence.
Correct. It's a grant program and it's income-based. You can use it for a variety of things: code-related issues, lead-based paint hazards, exterior property maintenance, accessibility modifications. The loan amount is approved based on the cost of the work, the property value, and the outstanding amount owed on the property. And as I mentioned before, income limits do apply.
Sure. And if you do have any questions regarding the Community Development Block Grant Program, please contact the Community Development Department at 920-236-5055, and they'll be very happy to help you out and give you some more information. There is also a web page with the application and more details that are listed there, so you can kind of dive in and see what might be applicable to your situation at your home. All right, and then we also want to point out another item that the survey for urban forestry is currently open, and I believe it's open for a few more weeks yet.
Yeah, we're looking for some feedback about your likes, dislikes, and access to trees and different green spaces in the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that will really help to inform the urban forest strategic plan and urban forest management plan.
And it takes about 10 minutes to answer the questions, and the answers are confidential.
Mm-hmm.
It's available on the Hot Topics section of our website.
Right. So we encourage everyone to take that survey. I know that they truly value the responses and community input. So if you don't mind taking 10 minutes out of your day, please go to the city's website and find that link, and they'll be very happy to have you fill out the survey. Okay, Rebecca, I think we will move our attention over to a preview of the upcoming September 9th Oshkosh Common Council meeting. That meeting does take place at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, September 9th, and that will be carried on GovTV and all of the various Oshkosh media platforms. Okay, so let me take a look here. Under our consent agenda, we have, looks like we are purchasing some updated software to kind of help efficiency in the assessor's area.
Yeah, it's CAMA software. They are currently using a software solutions that is in excess of $100,000. This is new software that comes in at under $50,000, and as you mentioned, it improves their processing and streamlines the services that we're able to provide related to assessments.
Sure. And I know that the city is always looking for opportunities to streamline, update software packages and find different ways to do things, and this is a prime example of that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, and then a little bit later on our council agenda, we have some special events. And it looks like, we're getting into fall here, so it looks like Oshkosh West is planning their homecoming parade for October 3rd, and some other items there.
Yeah.
Also, it looks like there is a rodeo bull riding type of event.
That'll be on September 14th at the Sunnyview Expo Center.
Right. So all kinds of things going on in Oshkosh. Yes. So just a little side plug is that we have on Oshkosh Media the Let's Talk Events podcast, and that is posted on the Oshkosh Media website, actually through the website and also on the Oshkosh Media YouTube page, and then also through various podcast platforms. So you can link to that through the website, and also look for social media posts about that, and people can learn about all of the different events going on around the city. Okay. A little bit later on in the agenda, we wanted to also point out that we are in budget season, and there's a lot of discussion about the city budget, and so there are some workshops that are coming up as well.
Yes, we have workshops coming up on October 14th and 15th. If needed, regarding the budget. We don't have another workshop next week before the council meeting like we've had previous meetings, but just want to highlight these upcoming budget workshops. Then we do have a public hearing regarding the budget on October 28th. That will take place at 5 p.m.
Okay, all right. And I imagine it's always challenging to get through a budget season, and a lot of discussion takes place. So, and we encourage folks to stay tuned and provide their input and certainly attend the public hearing if they would like to, and but certainly listen in on those meetings that are televised as well.
Definitely, we appreciate people's feedback on the budget. And during our discussions right now, working hard with the departments and our finance department to put something together to bring to the council. I think we've mentioned before, it's a difficult challenge at this point, given the funding that we have for cities, but we're working hard, and hopefully, I know we'll bring bring forth a budget in a few weeks for consideration.
There are always so many pieces to that budget puzzle, and
Yes.
it's a matter of trying to make them all fit and
Right.
come out with a good outcome. So.
Yeah, between that and the capital improvement
Yes.
projects. So
Right.
we've been working on that. A few months ago, we did have a workshop to go over that. The council did not approve anything at that time. We were waiting to get a few more numbers related to just the other portions of the budget. So we're going to be bringing that forth shortly too.
Okay. And I did have the opportunity to sit down with our Public Works Director, James Robbie, to talk about some upcoming capital improvements projects for 2026. And that video is posted also on the YouTube page. And it's also running every now and then on the Oshkosh Media Gov TV channel. So we encourage folks to take a look at that and learn a little bit more about what capital improvements are proposed for next year. So, any other comments about the budget for this year?
Not at this time. I'm sure we'll have plenty as the weeks unfold.
Okay, all right. So stay tuned about budget updates. Okay, well, Rebecca, I think it's time for us to take a short break, and please stay with us as we'll be joined by Interim City Assessor Dean Peters for some information about those notices of changed assessment that were recently mailed out. And we'll be right back. And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and we're now joined by Interim City Assessor Dean Peters. And welcome, Dean, and thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Sure, yeah. Well, I know that we've had the revaluation happen it happened last year, and now it's happening again this year. Can you tell us a little bit about why that is happening a second year in a row?
Sure, that's a great question. Last year, the intention was with the revaluation to bring all assessments as close as possible to 100% market value. Unfortunately, the commercial property assessments fell far below that. The city had a contracted commercial assessor who ended up valuing commercial property about 15% below market value, while residential property was assessed very close to market value. The state has a 10% threshold. Since commercial property was more than 10% undervalued, it's required now that we have a reassessment again.
Okay, all right. So where are we at in that revaluation process this year then?
Well, the assessor has completed physically inspecting all of the commercial properties this year.
Okay.
Residential properties did not need as much attention, but the assessments have been completed for all property at this point, residential and commercial, and notices of assessment were mailed out for those properties whose assessments have changed last week, Friday, August 19th.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me, August 29th.
Okay. August 29th. Okay. All right.
August 29th.
Okay. And then, as we get into this a little bit more, we hear the terms open book and board of review. And if you could explain a little bit about what the difference is between those two things.
Sure, yes. After notices of assessment are mailed out, property owners have the opportunity to review the assessment roll. That's the document that has all of the assessed values for the city in order, usually by parcel number or address or owner name. So you can look up, as a matter of public record, anybody's assessments, including your own. The open book also includes an opportunity to meet with the assessor or the assessment staff to discuss your assessment, to ask questions, to make comparisons with other assessments. It's really an open period where the assessors are willing to meet with homeowners and review assessments. Changes can be made during the open book. If it comes to light that something isn't correct with the assessed value, the assessor may change assessments during the open book. But once the open book period is completed, there is a formal objection period. It's kind of a last resort designed for property owners who have ideally already spoken with the assessor, they disagree with the assessor about their valuation, and they want to make a formal appeal. That's the board of review.
Okay, all right. So if a property owner wants to take the first step and make an appointment with somebody for the open book, what could they expect to accomplish in that meeting?
Sure. Well, first of all, we're asking property owners to call ahead and make an appointment rather than just walking into the assessor's office. The staff are going to be busy during that period, and we'd like to have organized appointment schedules. So please call in advance if you'd like to have an open book appointment. But as far as what to accomplish, if you have questions about your assessment, this is the perfect time to talk to the assessor about it. If you're wondering why you're assessed more than somebody else, for example, if you believe that your assessment is incorrect, that would be the time to bring it up, because ideally the assessors are there to help, and if there is something wrong with the assessment, they should be able to help you with that.
Okay, all right. And do we have dates set for the open book period?
Yes, the open book begins next week, September 10th and 11th, and as needed, it's going to carry on through the following week.
Okay. All right, perfect. And if somebody has an appointment for an open book meeting, what should they bring along to that appointment?
Great question. It's going to depend partly on what your concerns are. If you think, for example, that your home may be overvalued, if you have any other opinions of value that have been provided, like, for example, a refinance appraisal, something like that, or if you have talked to a realtor about listing your property for sale and they've given you an idea of what the property might be worth, those would be things to bring along. If you're concerned that your property might be overvalued because of the condition it's in, because there may be a lot of maintenance needed or things need repair, try to make a list of those things, bring photos, things like that to document those items. But it may just depend on what your concerns are.
Okay. And then the next step in the process would be potentially going to the board of review. And how should a person decide whether or not to go to board of review or not?
Sure. Well, the board of review it's a formal meeting. It's almost like a court setting where there's a panel of individuals who are appointed to this committee, the board of review, and they're there to listen to testimony from an objector, usually the property owner, and then from the assessor, who is there essentially to defend the assessment. So it's a much more formal process than the open book, and by state law, the assessor is presumed correct at board of review, and the burden of proof is on the property owner to show that the assessment is incorrect, and that may sometimes be difficult to do. So I would say always try to work through your issues during the open book first. The board of review should be reserved for situations when the property owner and the assessor cannot come to an agreement. The assessor ideally is going to repeat the same things at the board of review to the panel as they spoke to the property owner during the evaluation. valuation. And the property owner, if you decide to go to Board of Review, I would say make sure that you have some kind of evidence or some kind of reasoning or something to show that the assessment is incorrect.
Okay.
I would hope not a lot of people need to go to Board of Review because our assessment staff are very helpful, and we're, if you've got good information to show the assessment's incorrect, the open book would be the time to present that.
Okay, all right. And you've touched on it a little bit, but what is the process for going to Board of Review?
Sure. Well, if you do decide to go to Board of Review, you would have to contact the city clerk at least 48 hours before the Board of Review begins. Okay. And the board is scheduled for October 16th at 9:30 a.m. So 48 hours before that, you must have notified the clerk of your intent to make an objection. Mm-hmm. That is a requirement. There's also a requirement that you must fill out an objection form. And it's a one-page form. It does include your opinion of the market value of your property. So you'll need to provide a number that you think is a fair valuation for your property, which is different from the assessor's valuation. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you need to bring some evidence or something to show that your property assessment is incorrect. The board will conduct a hearing. They'll let you know the date and the time of the hearing. Mm-hmm. And then when you're there, you'll be put under oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Present testimony. The assessor will be there to present testimony as well as to why they believe the assessment is correct. Mm-hmm. The board will evaluate that evidence and make a determination. And they must make their determination based on sworn testimony and evidence presented.
Yeah, yeah, and I would imagine it is a formal proceeding like that because essentially these are the rates and such that establish our whole process for property taxes and such. So
right, the procedures that the Board of Review has to follow are outlined in state law, so they're not specific to City of Oshkosh. They are statewide procedures.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, and as far as backing up a little bit, a property owner may see an increase in their assessment value. What sorts of factors factor into the value of a property?
Sure. Well, as assessors, we have to consider anything that might affect the resale value of the property. Mm-hmm. The goal is to make the assessment match the market value of the property. And so we have to consider all the same things that a potential buyer of that property would consider. Okay. The neighborhood it's in, the size of the lot, the age of the structures, the condition they're in. If it's a home, how many bedrooms and bathrooms does it have? How many garage stalls? Things like that. Things that we all understand would affect the valuation of a property. Those are the same things that the assessor has to consider. Mm-hmm. This year we're reassessing a lot of the commercial properties who are having the bulk of the assessment changes this year because, on average they were undervalued last year. And with commercial property, it's going to depend on the type of property that it is. If it's, like for example, apartments or retail property or office space or industrial space, there may be different things that an owner of those types of properties would need to bring. But it's going to depend on the type of real estate that you own. Okay,
all right. And I would imagine that commercial properties have their own set of characteristics that affect the value of the property.
Right. Okay. Right. We do have a pretty good amount of sales that have happened of commercial properties within the city. So there are a lot of benchmarks in the market already that willing buyers and sellers have paid these kinds of prices, per square foot, for example, for different kinds of buildings or per unit for apartments. And so we've gone through all of that data, analyzed it, and applied it to the properties that we have here in the city. Mm-hmm. And I think this year we've got a very good result with the reassessment of commercial property.
Okay, all right, very good. Do you have any other thoughts on the process in general? Just kind of some closing thoughts as far as the open book and Board of Review and kind of where we're at with revaluation?
Yeah, I'd say when you receive your notice of assessment, if you have questions or concerns about your valuation, call right away to set up an appointment for the open book. I know the appointment slots will fill up quickly, but we need to gauge sort of how many to expect, and we'll continue the open book and keep appointment schedules open as long as we have people calling. Sure. What I don't want to have is people waiting till the last minute to call and there's not enough time and then we're scrambling for Board of Review. We'd like to make sure that we get a sense right away of how many people are going to need to speak to the assessor and get them scheduled for an appointment.
Okay.
By the way, if you do miss the Board of Review because you weren't paying attention to the dates, for example, you may at that point have lost any further appeal options for your 2025 assessment. Because once that Board of Review is done, the assessments are considered finalized for the year.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Could you remind us again of the dates for the open book and Board of Review?
Yes, the open book begins September 10th and 11th, which are Wednesday and Thursday, and then they continue into the following week, Monday through Thursday. And like I said, we'll continue the open book as needed if we need additional dates.
Yeah.
The Board of Review begins on October 16th at 9:30 in the morning.
Okay, all right. Well, that was a lot of information, and you kind of compacted it all really nicely. So we really appreciate your insights into this whole process.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure, absolutely. And thanks again for joining us today for City Manager's Report. We appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about revaluation and about your city government. Again, that Oshkosh Common Council meeting is at 6 p.m. this Tuesday, September 9th at City Hall, which is 215 Church Avenue. You can watch that live on GovTV, which is Spectrum Channel 10, Uverse Channel 99, and streaming on YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen on the radio, which is Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is also online and on the TuneIn radio app for phones and tablets. You can also use your favorite streaming device, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV. Just search for the Oshkosh Media app. And you can always visit our YouTube channel for government meeting archives and the full library of Oshkosh Media programming. So join us again in 2 weeks for another City Manager's Report. Thanks for watching.
Holding a phone takes precious attention away from the road. That's why handheld cell phone use is now illegal in Wisconsin work zones, and fines start at $40. Driving deserves your undivided attention. It's about safety for workers and for all motorists. So when you see orange cones, please put down the phone. The Wisconsin DOT urges you to help us achieve 0 deaths on Wisconsin roads.
Build your aviation business's success in a location known across the industry worldwide. Build your aviation business's success in Oshkosh. Home to Experimental Aircraft Association and its annual AirVenture Fly-In, Oshkosh supports a robust, diverse, and skilled workforce well-rooted in the manufacturing heritage of Wisconsin's Fox Valley region. Aviation and aerospace are strong components of that heritage, and Oshkosh's resources are designed to propel aviation-focused companies to greater heights. Oshkosh's Aviation Park features 80 acres of shovel-ready building sites on the southeast side of the airport, allowing direct access from your business to Whitman's superlative runways and taxiways. World-class workforce training for avionics, airframe mechanics, and aeronautical pilot licensing is available through Fox Valley Technical College's nationally recognized programs, located just around the corner from the Aviation Park. Need to move your product efficiently by rail? Oshkosh's intermodal transload facility is located less than 4 miles from the Aviation Park. Other amenities and potential incentives available through this business park include a U.S. Customs Foreign Trade Zone, state sales tax exemption for aircraft parts and labor, Wisconsin's manufacturing and agricultural tax credit, tax incremental financing, Oshkosh's revolving loan fund, and easy access to Interstate 41. Brand your company with a community synonymous with aviation. Make Oshkosh the new home for your business.
I'm City Manager Rebecca Grill, and this is your City Manager Minute. Boards and commissions play a crucial role in local government, and effective city operations depend on the active involvement of our citizens. Currently, we have several vacancies across various boards and commissions and are calling on dedicated community members like you to fill these positions. Contributing just a few hours each month to these boards and commissions helps strengthen our democratic process. With a diverse range of boards and commissions available, There's sure to be one that aligns with your interests. Visit the Boards and Commissions section of our city's website to explore your options and submit your application directly online. You can also call 920-236-5002 for information. Get involved and make a difference today. I'm City Manager Rebecca Grill, and this has been your City Manager Minute.